How's that? Better? Not so loud.
So you're saying, Doll?
Oh, yeah, so the ritual cloth.
Give that thing a ping, will you?
Sorry?
Give that thing a ping.
Well, I can explain it first.
Yeah, sure.
Well, first I'll talk about the ritual cloth. So the ritual cloth, I wanted to create something that is actually a cloth that felt really used, not something that was too pristine as, say, a sculpture table.
Sure, sure.
You know, but something that actually, you know, you really understand that this is something that's actually has history and elements on it. So what I ended up doing was that I actually dyed it with coffee grounds and clove and some other spices and wine, and I consecrated the wine through the full moon.
Seriously?
Yeah. So, and then the idea of the coffee grinds, I love the pattern it makes, but also I really like that kind of tradition of reading coffee grinds as a divination aspect. So I thought that was just something kind of an elegant idea to create this.
But did you have a result?
Yeah, so you see these patterns. All of these are coffee ground patterns. So all this, it's like this natural pattern. So over a course of a month, I had them soaking in different grinds, and then I had them creating, then wine stains and things like that. And then,
so this wasn't like an afterthought. This is something you planned.
No. This was very, very planned.
This is something you had planned as part of the process.
Absolutely. 100%. I wanted to look. There's a natural element when you take art out of the natural element, right? So how do you embrace the natural element again without it being necessarily just on the floor or in a garden or something like that? So in order also to have a transition of, say, the dirt to the sculpture, to the plant, to then this stark area, this, weirdly enough, this cloth ties it in. It ties it in together. It creates a pathway that you're able to move through the dirt, through the natural green, something growing, overgrown. And I love this because some parts are dying, some are, they're growing out of the ceramic piece, which was a ritual ceramic piece created by a ceramicist for the show. So she actually created both of these pieces.
Wow.
And the concept was, one was supposed to be soil brown, like wet soil, and the other one, and made to look maybe thousands of years old, something you would see in a tomb, possibly. And then this was supposed to be bone white. And so, again, we're moving from life and death, but the idea too is that there's light in life, there's light and dark in life and death, and there's death and life and death. So, for example, and that's where the pendulum comes in. So it's a mixture of the two. You've got tourmaline and moonstone.
Right.
And I thought it took me months to find this, to find the perfect balance of light and dark, because again, it's saying it's always swinging between the two. It's never really landing on either one. It's always in between. You're always in the in between.
Yeah, it's dynamic.
Yeah. And then you have this,
as opposed to being stagnant.
Exactly. It's dynamic. And it's interactive. So you can you hold it, think about it, and then you let it move. And then you have also this dirt. So you've got elements where you've got, say, rotten elements that are already dying within the fern. You kind of look in, and there's parts that are so verdant and so alive and so breathing, and then there's parts that are already kind of they're dying. And I think that's part of the idea, is that it's never quite all alive. And you have the horn and elements of this is a real cow jaw that I sculpted into this part, which was resin. And then you have unmined emerald and natural moss, natural lichen, beetles. There's little clues all around, a key, another horn that looks like maybe it's been there for 1,000 years.
What's the key doing?
You always ask me about the key.
Yeah.
I like to have keys in my installation because I consider them. I take it kind of literally. It's a bit like a doorway into the art.
Sure.
So it's like, this is the doorway, and you have the key to unlock it.
Yeah.
I'm also just fascinated by keys.
Yeah, it's like a
I
very
think
mysterious symbol, right?
yeah, they're very beautiful.
They're very imbued with mystery.
Yeah, yeah. And I grew up with these keys like this.
Oh.
I also grew up in a cemetery.
What?
So yeah. So my father worked he was a president of a cemetery association, and my mother had a store at the base of the cemetery, an antique store,
Wow.
and she had all these keys.
Sheesh.
And some of the keys actually went to the mausoleums. So you have some of the keys, they're mausoleum keys, and they're from the 1800s, so they have that.
It's
so
a very intense memory trigger for you.
Very, very, very.
Yeah.
So I mean, these are keys, we had hundreds and hundreds of them. Some of them for the mausoleum, other ones were just really excavated from, the antique store. And for me, they're childhood and also adulthood. They're the passageway, And so anyways, we go here, then we start to see the bone element, and you've got the white ceramic, which is gorgeous. Yeah, and now this was so fun.
It's like a standalone thing on its, well, they all are.
Yeah, I really love this piece. And this actually, the crack was something that ended up happening pre-firing, and my ceramicist was like really worried that I was going to be upset, and I said, "Oh, it's perfect, thank you, leave it." And so
Very Duchamp.
I ended up I told her about the Duchamp piece.
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, it's like the bride stripped bear," and I ended up creating the whole entire composition based on the cracks. There's 2 cracks, so I used them to design the like action that was happening. And then actually some of these pieces I purchased here at CATLAND.
Oh, really?
Yeah, where they hosted me. So like these elements to actually finish the sculpture. So they were never, I couldn't quite finish it, and I came here and I found exactly what I needed, and I came running out with bones and horns. So this is a Moroccan geode, some resin, anatomical jawbone.
What's that from?
This is from anatomical skulls, so those are resin.
Is that human?
No, this one's resin. These are
Oh, I see, okay.
these are deer vertebrae, horn. I'm not sure which animal. Sorry, ram horn, and bird skull.
Wow.
Some of the bird skulls I have more,
much
but
to
my
discover in
cat
here.
stole them. Yeah, quartz. So this has that really like stark feel. And then these are 2, I call them tomb vessels. So they're actually filled with specific fragrances.
Oh, wow.
And the fragrances have, one is frankincense and copal and fossilized amber that's 35 million years old. And the other one has black agar, so they're all natural, and they're all fragrances that are used in tombs traditionally and burial ritual. And then this is one of my other ritual skull.
That's so great.
And now one of the top
That's
parts.
just killer. That's killer.
If you smell it, so I created a scent called death and a scent called life. And so death, all the crystals are sprayed with it, even the ritual cloth. And so death smells like chalk and dust and stone and a dash of a living amber, so it has like a little amber note, but it's very, very chalky and dusty and sandy. And then life has clary sage and oak moss and green leaf bamboo, but also rotting leaves. So each one of them has something that's either alive or dead. So again, it's always this balance back and forth.
Beautiful.
Oh, right, and then the music. So I wrote this requiem that you're hearing a little bit in the background. And the requiem is also then a lot of that was created for not just the ritual work, but also an inspiration for Ken's photographs. So, and in fact, that's the album cover for the requiem, which is going to be coming out.
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, that's it. So it's all about this reaching out from the spirit realm and then altering, changing into becoming something new.
Jeez, great. I love this. Oh, shit.
I love that one.
So many people trying to do this, you know? And here's the one guy that pulls it off.
He does. And I really feel like Kent's
I get 10 emails a month of people who, try to do this kind of work. And
well, this also like this pulls. I feel like I love about Kent's work is it actually pulls grotesque and beauty together. And so you have these moments that are totally haunting and really kind of terrifying and soul wrenching, and then other passages that are just totally sublime, like totally beautiful and incandescent. And I think that's why it works so well together.
well, I think there's also with this work, there's like a, how do you say, you know, there's like a aura of familiarity with them, you know, because we're so acclimated to seeing like the horror movie posters from the 70s, and you know, they're embedded in our cultural psyche, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, isn't that, you almost feel familiar and comfortable with and intimate with the images right out of the gate, right?
Well, that's the thing, is you recognize something in yourself, but it's just
Well, they're cinematic in a way too, right? They're storytelling.
They are. It just takes it to such another level.
This is so great. This is one of my favorites too. What do you call them? The meathead?